Wait a second. I thought this deck was dead. Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we're taking a look at Malice, and yes, this deck is not actually dead. In fact, it's probably still the most well-performing deck currently. And a lot of that is similar to how, like, Tenpai was when it got nerfed, where people were less likely to actually, like, board specific hate for it. So yeah, this deck is still crazy. Now, that being said, it is weaker. I'm not going to deny that it is weaker. That being said, it does have the ability to make still some very, very powerful boards. It's not as powerful because Apo is no longer there, and it can't really play through as many interactions because of the fact that it's less consistent just overall, and it is less likely to have Apo, which is very important, which means Nibiru is a weakness. It's a genuine weakness for this deck. That being said, this deck is still very, very playable. So, yeah, Malice, I mean, Cyber's Slop is always going to be playable since they actually printed good Cybers cards with, like, Circular. So, that being said, let's just quickly do the explanation and the card by card. Starting off with the Malice monsters, we're just playing the maximum amount of all of them. Which is not actually a whole lot, to be fair. We're playing the 3 White Rabbit, the 1 Dormouse, the 1 Chessy Cat, and the 3 March Hare. Now, with that being said, we still have other ways of getting to them, most notably the Gold Shark as well as the Malice in Underground as additional ways to get into them without having to use your normal, or we could also use Backup Secretary, which is just, if you control a Cyber summoned from the extra deck, you can special summon it, and on summon, it grabs a Dark Cybers monster. I don't know why it's a Dark Cybers. Why did they make it a Dark Cybers? Why couldn't it have been, like, an Earth Cybers? That would have been interesting, but alas. Anyway, and then you discard a card. And then we also have a Wizard Agonister, which is pretty solid as well, which reborns from the extra, locking us into Cybers, which, not reborns from the extra, reborns from the grave, a Cybers monster, and then locks you into Cybers for the rest of the turn. We also have the ability to potentially draw them off of a lure and then banish them to get them into rotation as well, so we still have 3 of that. So the deck is still fairly consistent. There's still a lot of ways to get into a lot of these cards. On top of that, you can even have like 4 hand traps and something like an MTP and still have the ability to play the game there. So, there's that. Speaking of hand traps, we are playing a lot of them. We are playing 2 Maxi, 2 Droll, as well as 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Fuwalos, 3 Bystials, 1 apiece of Magnemite, Druis, and Baldrake, all of which can also facilitate your deck as extenders, but they can also, of course, be hand traps themselves. And then we're also playing the 3 Impulse. As for other cards, we're playing 1 Nibiru and Imperm for our crossout designator, and we're also playing a Call to Buy. And then, of course, we're playing the 2 traps, the GWC and the MTP. We are not playing TB11, and the reason for this is because the deck has become more inconsistent. Adding another card to add to the inconsistency isn't necessarily a good idea. So, instead, we're playing other such hand traps to potentially slow down the game, or mostly what has happened is we're just added more Allure of Darkness and more like March Hare and stuff like that. So it's more just like extenders as opposed to necessarily like a slow starter. That being said, I don't think TB11 is necessarily that bad of a choice, but it's still not great. The extra deck is pretty similar to previously what we had. Obviously, we took out the Apo. We also took out Nightmare Cerberus from last time I showcased this deck because less people are playing Chaos Hunter. If for some reason people go back to playing Chaos Hunter, you can add in the Nightmare Cerberus. But for the most part, that's not necessary. So the extra deck is, it's pretty simple. We're playing the Link's Spider for Nibiru tokens. We're playing Almirage as well. It's just like a solid thing. You can normal summon it to get a Cybers, which is pretty important, so that you can trigger your Backup Secretary, which is pretty nice. We have Lingaribo as well as Link Decoder. This card should be banned. This card's crazy. We're also then playing a whole bunch of you see them. We're playing Cybers Wick Kid. You can use it to grab up your Wizard Agonister. Sorry, not Wizard. Your Backup Agonister. We also have Splash Mage and Dark, as well as Haggard Lizardos as additional extenders. Then we also have SP as just another thing that we can go into because, of course. And then we have a bunch of other things. The 3 Malice monsters, the Firewall Dragon. This card actually is part of the full combo end board, so it is pretty necessary. Axis Kotaker, obviously, it's extension as well as disruption. It's crazy. Not disruption. Board Breaker, which is kind of crazy. And then, of course, the allied Code Talker Adagnister to allow you to get an Omni Negate onto your board, which is very, very helpful. So let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alright, so first and foremost, I'm going to showcase what this deck still is capable of doing. Yes, we do not have Apo, but we still have the ability to do basically whatever we need to. So I'm going to showcase the more or less standard combo here. We're going to go for the Haggard Lizardos. We're going to banish the Dormouse here. We're going to then special summon the Dormouse and then go into our Red Ransom. We're going to activate the effect of the Red Ransom in order to grab up the Malice in the Underground. And now we can activate our backup Adagnister. Now, to be fair, if we didn't already have the backup Adagnister, what we could have done is we could have gone for a bit of a different line. We could have gone March Hare, and then banish the March Hare, add back to hand, and then banish, or go into the Link Decoder, and then banish March Hare, bring back the, not March Hare, Dormouse, bring back in order to go into the Red Ransom here, which just gives you easier access into a few other things. But for the most part, it doesn't really matter. We're going to go for Wizard Adagnister here in order to bring back the Dormouse, then go into the Link Decoder, and then link off into Splash Mage and activate the effect of the Splash Mage here. We're still not using our trap cards here. Out comes White Binder. White Binder effect is going to activate. We're going to banish just our Red Ransom. Red Ransom effect is going to activate. We're going to banish our Chessy Cat. Chessy Cat is going to summon itself. Now we are going to link off into the Hearts Rifter. Out comes our Link Decoder. Then we're going to activate the Malice in the Underground. We are going to banish our Malice in the Mirror in order to banish our White Binder, which adds our March Hare to our hand. From here, we get to White Binder in order to draw a card as well. And now we can actually banish in order to draw 2 cards, which we drew another March Hare. So I have 3 March Hares in hand, which is very funny. I kind of messed up my zones here. I think I should have placed things a little bit better. But it's not too big of a deal, because for the most part, we're still accomplishing what we want to. So out comes the Hard Scripter here, and now we can link off all of the rest of our bodies except for the Firewall Dragon in order to go into our allied Code Talker Adagnister, which is then going to bring back our 2 other Malice monsters, and we get to pass the turn with a full board having drawn 3, which is pretty good. So we have quite a lot in terms of disruption still, alongside the Hard Scripter. We have a Banish, we have a Bounce, which also can add back our Droll, by the way. We also have the GWC, we have the MTP, we have the Crossout Designator, and then of course we have the Allied Code Talker as an Omni Negate, and then the Imperm as well. And then March Hare, just in case, as additional ways to survive, basically. My opponent's going to reveal that they are on Flunder, which is awesome, because now I know that, oh, I can just activate the Firewall here and grab back the Droll. Now we are off to the races. I could have done this earlier, but I wasn't in... I should have, as soon as Jack in the Hand was activated, just go Firewall Dragon there. I don't know why I didn't. I wasn't really thinking about the fact that I could add back the Droll at that moment, but alas. My opponent is going to go for the Eaglin, as well as chaining the Advent of Adventure. I'm like, sure. They're going to go Robina here. They're going to add it to their hand. They're going to add the Eaglin here, and they're going to activate the Robina. And then I activate Imperm. This is a terrible Imperm. This is a terrible Imperm, because they have to add a card to their hand, and I have already chained a Droll, which means this card doesn't do anything. But I elect to Imperm it for reasons I cannot explain to you. Alas, it doesn't matter what my opponent does here, because they are so unbelievably doomed. Just because I have, like, way more points of interaction for them. At most, I think that they are hoping that I, like... Well, I mean, they do have Shadow Imprisoning, which is funny. It doesn't matter because of the MTP, so it's not really that big of a deal. But alas, I think they were just like hoping that I didn't really have anything. But yeah, I mean, maybe they were hoping I would lose to time. I was never going to lose to time there. So that generally is what the deck does. Alrighty, now here we are going second, and our hand is pretty good. We have Droll Impulse, which is pretty solid, as well as March Hare and Backup Adagnister and the Trap. So, my opponent is revealing that they are on Sky Striker, which is funny, to say the least. But yeah, Impulse actually, like, cooks Sky Striker. But, do you know what else does? Droll. Droll's pretty good. They're gonna go for the Ray here. I'm like, that's fine. They're gonna go for a 0. Sure. Set 2 and pass the turn. The Impulse just kind of turns off everything that they can do, so I'm not too concerned here. We're going to go and just draw into White Rabbit. That's pretty good. We're going to go White Rabbit into the MTP. They're going to go Cosmic Cyclone, which is crazy to think that they're even playing this card, but sure. We're going to go and grab another March Hare. You might be wondering why we're grabbing March Hare here, because having 2 is actually not terrible, right? Just having 1 as follow-up so that you can use the other one freely is pretty solid. And it's not like adding anything else here would be worth it. They're going to go for their 0, and I'm going to go Impulse, and then they concede. Yeah, Impulse is crazy. Alrighty, now here we are once again going first, and our hand is, well, okay, now it's significantly worse. Fool loss is kind of an issue for us, but I am still going to do as much as I can into it without giving them the most amount of draws. So we're going to start off here with the White Rabbit in order to go for the MTP. MTP is going to grab up the March Hare, and then we are going to go for the White Rabbit effect here. We're going to then link off here into our Lingaribo. And the reason for this is because we have the backup Adagonister. So, of course, we're doing this. We're going to go for the backup Adagonister. We're going to grab the Chessy Cat, which will then promptly hit the graveyard so that we can use it later. Speaking of which, we're going to use it right now for the Wizard, since we already drew it. This now allows us to draw an additional 2 and put the March Hare back into our hand, which is, again, pretty solid. I'm not too happy with what we ended up drawing, so I'm going to go a little bit further. We're going to go into the Red Ransom to get an additional draw, and I'm like, that's totally fine. And we're going to go for the Malice in Underground. We're going to activate the effect there, and we're going to banish this spell. We're going to go for Malice in the Mirror, banishing our Dormouse, which then just allows us to grab, banishing the White Rabbit to grab Dormouse, which we can then banish off of our Allure of Darkness after drawing 2. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty solid here. But alas, we're going to go one more time with the March Hare. We're going to link off all our field in order to go into the White Binder, giving them 1 more draw. But alas, we still get to add quite a bit of points of interaction. So I am, we banish we banish a backup Adagonister for our Red Ransom summon, and then we are going to set the GWC, link off 1 more time. I lied. We gave them like a lot of draws. But we do get to go into our Heart Scriptor, and then just pass the turn there. Not exceptional, but I may have made a mistake. I think it's overall okay. I think we'll be fine. We're going to go for the White Binder here, and, yeah. Summon out the White Binder effect. We're going to target 1, 2, and 3. They're going to go for Widow Anchor, and I go, oh, okay, I'm going to go for the Heart Scriptor here. Here's the thing. I don't think I'm going to die. I'm really... I'm fairly certain I don't die, especially because I have an Impulse, and Impulse is crazy against this deck, so I'm like, okay, sure. I'm just going to banish here, and be like, okay, kill me, basically. Like, good luck killing me. Let's see if they can actually OTK me in some capacity. We're going to banish everything and just bring it all back. I'm going to take a fair amount of damage here, but again, with the March Hare, with the Baldrake, and with Impulse, I'm fairly certain we just, like, don't have a way of loot. Well, okay, now things get interesting. Because the thing is, I think if they don't have the additional draws here, it's pretty sealed for me. I struggle to think of a world in which they win this here. But now they could just kill me with advantage. So let's see what my opponent can accomplish here. We do have a lot of ways of just like putting bodies to block on our field, and Impulse is very, very good. They don't really summon a whole lot, and a lot of the ways that they do summon is via the like activated effects. So there's that. My opponent's gonna look at my hand and elect to take Fua. Huh? Why? Couldn't tell you. I have no clue. I don't. Huh? Why? What? Okay, sure. Thrust, sure. Engage. What? Why engage? Okay, I guess they didn't want Regeki. They're gonna just banish a card. Okay, sure. Outcomes engage. Yeah. Outcomes multi-roll. Okay. Yeah, now this Impulse makes sense. Now it kind of makes sense as to why we didn't take the Impulse. I don't know why we didn't take Baldrake there, but sure. Wait, hold on. They didn't immediately activate the Mecha Module effect. Okay. Outcomes Lemniscate. Sure. Afterburners. Sure. That's the wrong card. If you're wondering why my card did not die, here's why. Red Ransom is pointing to Dormouse. Dormouse says Malice Link monsters that point to this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. Period. Just straight up. Can't be destroyed. So, yeah. Turns out, kinda shoulda maybe not targeted exactly that one. It's fine. They're gonna just link off a whole bunch of their guys. Sure. Yeah, this is all just fuel for Lemniscate, and also to prevent them from being able to summon anything else later on in the turn. Sure. They're going to go for another Mecha Module. Grab Widow Anchor. Sure. They're going to link off for Hemp. Why are we even playing this card, by the way? Okay. Out comes the Widow Anchor. They're going to steal. That's fine. They're going to link. Just kidding. They're going to send it away with multi-roll. Okay. Now I can't target. Or now I can't, like, chain my Impulse. Okay. Sure. We eventually got there. But okay. Sure. Out comes Hornet Drones. They're going to activate the effect. They're going to special summon here. Out comes Zero. Zero effect is going to Tribute, and, no. Come on, you know I had Impulse. What are we doing here? They're gonna then chain the Lemnis Gate, as well as they're gonna go Linkage, and then chain Lemnis Gate. I'm like, okay, sure. They're gonna target pretty much their entire deck. I believe they targeted 6 cards here. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which doesn't actually equate to many bounces. That sounds crazy, but you actually have to put back, for every 3 shuffled cards, you get to return a card on the field to the hand. So they actually only get to put back 4 cards, which is, like, fine. That being said, it is basically the entire field, so sure. However, they have to get rid of everything here. So they're going to put everything back. Away goes everything. They're going to target a bunch of cards, and then... I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? Oh, right. They timed out. If you were wondering why I was sticking around for so long, I was fairly certain as soon as they drew that many cards, I was like, oh, it's Sky Striker? Which means they don't have just, like, an easy, quick line to just OTK? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll stick around. I knew they were going to lose to time. Alright, we're back with the deck, and honestly, this deck is still insane. It's still very good. Here's the thing. 2 things. First and foremost, it's a Cybers deck, meaning pretty much any 2 monsters, at least as if one of them is a Malice monster, does the whole line, and the whole line is a lot. It's a lot of stuff, right? You get access to Omni Negates, non-target banishes, bounces, and just a myriad of bodies, big guys on field that are very difficult to deal with. So for the most part, it's very difficult for a lot of decks to even have the ability to, like, push through that, let alone push through it and either establish their own board enough to where you can't kill them on the crackback, or where they can actually kill you. So, again, it's still very strong in that capacity. The second thing is that it can play a myriad of hand traps that are really good right now. Notably Impulse. Impulse is such a crazy card right now, because being able to negate a special summon effect is very strong. Mitsurugi, very notable card, or very notable cards that lose very hard to Impulse. If you Impulse the ritual spell, that's pretty good, right? That's very, very solid. On top of that, Sky Striker right now, very hard, loses to Impulse. It may not seem like it, but Zero, Ray, and Linkage all, like, need to resolve, and you can just Impulse it very easily, so there's that. Plus, like, a myriad of other decks, it's just, like, solid against, right? So, all in all, not just Impulse, but, like, a lot of these cards, right? The fact that it can droll itself and still end on an insane board means that you have the ability to, like, ignore Maxi or Fuelos a lot more often than a lot of other decks, which is another boon that it has. It also has the ability to play pretty well into things like Fua and Maxi, because it can kind of do these half boards if it really wants to. I didn't, but if it wants to, it can make these, like, half boards that are still very powerful, right? So there's that. There's just a bunch of things like that where you have the ability to kind of play around a lot of the cards that are in the current metagame and not really be too concerned. So there you go. Am I happy that this deck still exists? No. That being said, at the very least, it is less insufferable. Oh, also, gotta tell you, someone came into my chat and literally just called me the N-word for playing this deck. Now, is that reasonable? Yes. Is it warranted? No. So, yeah, maybe have a little bit more tact next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.